Uh, on paper where the story's told, facts and truth, the legend grows. Lionheart's here with fire to spit. It's on paper with Anthony Smith.
With Anthony Smith.
What's up, guys? We are back for our second episode this week of the On Paper podcast presented by Black Buffalo. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. We already had one awesome episode this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation with Big John. To be totally fair, I asked Big John for 15 minutes and he gave me almost an hour, and I felt really bad about it, but he seemed to be enjoying the conversation too. So I'm glad we had him on. Kelly, seems like you enjoyed that conversation too.
John is so smart, and I think with all of the refereeing issues we've seen over the last few weeks, whether it be UFC 321, UFC Perth, UFC Vancouver,
Right.
it's always nice to hear from the guy who quite literally wrote the rule book.
Yeah.
That I'm really happy he's back in the cage. That's where he belongs.
That is where he belongs. And now we don't need to call him Big John McCarthy anymore. He looked pretty lean and thin.
That's Slim John McCarthy.
Yeah, it's Slim John McCarthy. That's what I'm calling him from now on, Slim John.
If anyone didn't see it, I suggest going back and taking a listen, but we've got you here now, and you and Chael Sonnen seem to dominate the headlines coming out of UFC 321. We all know what happened. We're 5-6 days removed now, the Tom Aspinall eye poke, and the two of you seem to spark a lot of controversy on the desk. People aren't happy. I kind of want to just give you the floor to explain your thoughts, not walk anything back because that's not the Anthony Smith way. Just kind of explain where you guys were coming from on the desk.
Yeah, I'm not walking anything back because okay. I took a few days before we did this video. Really, I mean, if I'm being totally honest, I've been hanging out. I took my kids to the Chiefs game. It's Halloween. It's Halloween's tomorrow, so we're getting ready for that. And I know that everyone would love to hear that I'm sitting around reading the comments, seeing what you guys are saying. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm not. So I have had a lot of people reach out and say, hey man, are you seeing this? And to be fair, not really. I learned a long time ago to if you don't want your feelings hurt, stay out of the comments. Joe Rogan has always famously said post and ghost. So that's
I learned from the show.
Yeah, post and ghost. It's not important. But I did have, I had Dean reach out and a couple other of my coworkers, and actually some fighters have reached out. Some of them on both sides of whatever this controversy is. So I took a quick peek, and I'm a bit shocked. Not at people being upset, because Tom is a polarizing figure, and I expect that if I say anything that isn't 100% pro Tom Aspinall, people are going to be upset about that, and that's the beauty of this sport. That's why I don't worry about it. We need you guys to be upset if someone says something like that. We need you to be happy if an analyst that you really respect and appreciate says something good about your guy. That's how this works. If we don't create some sort of emotion, then we're not really doing our job. So unfortunately, you guys are kind of in a matrix and you don't even know it. If Chael and I just stood up there and said everything that you wanted us to say and we didn't give our honest opinions, then there is no reason for us to be there. Our job is to give our opinion. Now, the issue that I have is I think my opinion is being skewed. Like, I would love for someone to go back and find a clip where I said I thought Tom was faking it, because I never said that. I never insinuated that. I never said Tom should have kept fighting regardless of how injured he was. I didn't say that. I would have never said that. The one part that maybe I probably fired up a lot of people was when Brendan Fitzgerald asked me what the narrative was going to be and what I was going to see on Monday. And I said what I thought that the narrative was going to be. And unfortunately, guys, I was right. If you look anywhere other than my comments and my mentions, it's a lot of people saying that. And it's not what I believe. But I know how this game works. And I get so confused. And it's why I stay out of the comments. I get so confused where I'll say, like in situations where I'll say something and no one will actually debate what I'm saying. No one will actually debate it. They'll just attack my character and my career. And those two things have nothing to do with each other. I don't know why in any world anybody that is, you know, sitting wherever they are on their phone can like say, I don't have a position, or I'm not in a position to speak on this. So if I don't have a position to speak on this, I've been doing this for 20 years, my entire adult life. I have been in over 50 professional fights. I have almost as many amateur fights, trained all over the world with the best in the world. And I am 100% respected by my peers because of my journey and how I did it. And again, I'm not going to debate my career with you. Did I win them all? No, I didn't. I didn't win the title, but neither did you. And like the people saying, I don't have a position to speak on this. If I don't know how you do. It doesn't make any sense to me. If you're sitting on your couch telling me that I don't have any room to speak on this situation, then you should also shut the fuck up. And that's how I look at it. And that's absolutely why I don't take anything that those people say seriously. If your opinion mattered, we would be working together, but we don't. So it doesn't matter at all. But I have absolute respect for Tom Aspinall. I'm not going to apologize for being upset that the fight ended the way that it ended. What about the millions of people that paid 80 whatever dollars because this is the fight that they wanted to see? Like, I represent those opinions because that's how I feel. How much money do you think people spent to go to the event live? How many people flew over from the UK? You know how much an Emirates flight is from the UK to Abu Dhabi? It ain't fucking cheap. And those people are allowed to be upset, and I represent those class of people. So I was upset. I got to watch it for free from ESPN, cost me $0, and in fact, got paid a shit ton of money to do it. And I was upset about it. I can't imagine how other people felt. So I'm not going to walk that back. I was upset about it. I wasn't blaming anybody. I was just upset about it. And I do think that there was one situation in our conversation where I think our conversation got a little muddled, where I believe we were talking in generalities. I think we were talking very specifically, Tom. I think we got into like a very general conversation and then brought it back to Tom. But again, I'm not walking that back because we're literally on there minutes after it happened with not a lot of time to like, we don't know what we're going to talk about. We have no idea where this conversation is going to go. So sometimes I'm just sitting there talking to my buddy, and that is what it is. But the only thing that, as long as we're all very clear, I never said I thought Tom was faking it. And I never said that he should have continued no matter how hurt he was. Like I just never said those things. And since then I've been asked my opinion, like, would I have kept fighting, or would other fighters have kept fighting? I have an answer to that question, but it doesn't matter. That answer doesn't matter. I think we all know what my decision likely would have been, but I'm not Tom Aspinall. And I actually said this exact thing. I'm not Tom Aspinall. I'm not the heavyweight champion of the world, and I'm not standing across from Ciryl Gane and then thinking about doing it one-eyed. The one part that I brought myself into it, I didn't clarify this when I said it, and I didn't mean it like this when I did fight with one eye and unable to see. It was from a legal blow. But the whole point was in that general conversation when we were talking about, like, sometimes people end up having to fight with one eye. That was like Chael and I kind of moved in and out of like some conversations. And I don't know that we were like specifically talking about Tom in that moment. I think it was a very general conversation. And then we went back to Tom. I don't know if you guys ever had a conversation with Chael. You kind of just all over the place, and you just follow along, and then we just roll with it. And you know, whatever. Sometimes it gets me and Chael in trouble. And again, I'm not walking that back. There was a great conversation, and I actually left that post show thinking, man, that was a lot of fun. Like we really vibed and were flowing through that conversation. I had a lot of fun.
The whole situation kind of got blown out of proportion because Tom, and this isn't coming from you guys, I'm not saying this is you and Chael by any means. It just feels like Tom was being almost vilified post-fight for something that wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault his eye was gouged out. It wasn't his fault that this was called a no contest and not a DQ win. none of this was Tom's fault. And I think just because you guys weren't rah-rah, Tom Aspinall, he 100% made the right decision, because there kind of was a little bit of murkiness to it, and you guys can call it both ways. That's why you're up there. I think that's why people got on you two so much, because you were the first two people we heard from post-fight.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are two very big names in the sport, of course. And I think because it wasn't 100% go team Tom Aspinall, people turned it into something that it wasn't.
My job's not to be 100% team Tom Aspinall.
Absolutely.
And I know that this is the part that pisses people off. My job is just to speak my opinion. That's really it, especially on these post shows. Absolutely. Our job is to be analysts and to be like pre-shows, especially on like a really good fight night card. It's hardcore X's and O's. You never see me really catch any shit on like a fight night, because the only thing we're focused on is hardcore techniques, potential game plans, X's and O's, and really down to the bread and butter of what this game is. That's not how these big pay-per-views go. It's a completely different format in terms of our jobs. Like, we work two completely different jobs. When I work pay-per-views versus fight nights, it's two completely different jobs. Unfortunately, for the people that don't like it, it's really a very opinion based on the pay-per-views. And if you don't like it, that's actually how it's supposed to be. That's actually how it's supposed to be. Like, if Stephen A told me one time that when he was with Max Kellerman, they had a format meeting every single day before every show, and then they would separate them, and these producers would ask them the same questions. And if Stephen A and Max Kellerman agreed on something, they didn't talk about it, because nobody wants to just see two people sit up there and agree and say things that they want to hear. Like, that's just not how TV works. So then the things that they disagreed on, boom, those are the topics for the show, because then you get 50% of the people on one side, 50% on the other. That's why pay-per-views are opinion-based generally, because chances are there's going to be the same amount of people that agree as disagree. So when there's a shit ton of comments where people are like, yeah, I kind of agree with what he said, and then 50% are like, oh, he's full of shit, I fucking hate that guy. Like, that's the idea. Like I said, you guys are in a matrix and you don't even realize it. Like, that's the whole point of the job. So I know that you're just hoping and you're typing your fucking ass off. Like, if he reads this, he's going to be so hurt. No, he's not. If he reads it, he's going to say, it looks like I did my job.
If this was a cut and dry, Tom Aspinall looked fantastic, won the fight, we'd have so much less to talk about. It just so happened it was 2 minutes and change. Ciryl Gane looked fantastic out there, though, in my opinion, too early to say that he was winning the fight, since it was only 2 minutes and change, but he looked really good. And then there was the eye poke. Tom Aspinall couldn't continue. I think it's only fair to kind of look at both sides of it. You guys wouldn't be doing your job if you didn't.
Exactly. And what people wanted, or at least the Aspinall fans, is for me to not address how absolutely great Ciryl Gane was looking early in that fight. They don't want me to talk about that because of how it ended. But that's not the job. That's not the job. I have to address both sides. Like, I watch the fight and I talk about what I was thinking about while I was watching it. Like, that's what I was thinking about. And I think a little bit of it is because I said a lot of the things that I thought was going to happen on Friday when I could get a little more analytical. And a lot of those things were starting to look correct. And again, who knows? It was early in the fight. These fights are long. So that could have totally changed. But we'll never know. So we only talk about what I see. And really, lastly, on this, I think, fuck, I'm gonna probably just fire this right back up too.
Great.
I think sometimes what happens in sports is our hate for one can unfairly elevate or move the position of another. So I talked a lot about in the week leading into the fight, and on the pre-shows on Friday, that everyone kept saying, well, Jon Jones did this to Ciryl Gane, and this is what Ciryl Gane did with Jon Jones. And I just kept trying to remind people, like, is great as Tom Aspinall is, he is not John Jones. And then we get in this Jones Stipe thing, and then Jones is not going to fight Tom, and then he's going to fight Tom, and then he decides to retire. And I think that our hate, not me, but like as a community, the hate and anger that was being directed at John elevated Tom to an unfair position in his own right. And I don't mean that he didn't deserve to be where he's at in the sport, but I think it gave us unrealistic expectations of what Tom Aspinall is and what he's capable of, and or where he is currently in his career, right? Or is currently in his skill set. So then there's this shock and awe when he's not running through Ciryl Gane. And then I highlight it. And that pisses people off. And that's not saying anything negative about Tom. He's a goddamn heavyweight champion of the world. He's incredible. But he's not invincible. And there was this weird invincibility conversation going into the week. And I pushed back on that a little bit because it's unfair to him. I said it on the show. If Tom Aspinall has a close fight with Ciryl Gane and he struggles with him, but even still gets a win, it's as good as a loss because of where everyone else has put him, because of what John Jones did to Ciryl Gane. So we've put like Tom in an impossible, unfair position because of the community's hate for John. And so I think there's a lot of this weird back and forth dynamic that's happening. So like people are watching the fight and they're not liking what they're seeing. And it's not like he's not invincible because he's now he's bleeding his own blood and he's landed and Ciryl Gane's still awake and he shot takedowns and he's still on his feet. So like, I think the hardcores, the Tom Aspinall hardcores, like they start to get a little bit up in arms and uncomfortable. And then, my dumbass gets up there on ESPN and says a lot of things you don't like. And again, that's fine. That's actually preferred. I actually prefer it that way.
Before I even say this, do I think Tom Aspinall is the best active heavyweight in the world? I do. But I think a lot of the things that were and are being said about Tom Aspinall going into the Ciryl Gane fight were the same things we were saying about Ciryl Gane prior to his loss to John Jones. We were saying he's this elusive heavyweight that moves like a middleweight, good footwork, powerful. Obviously, all the guys at heavyweight are powerful. I don't take that as seriously, but a lot of the adjectives that we are using to describe Tom Aspinall now, that's how we look. That's how we looked at Ciryl Gane before he fought John Jones. And I think Ciryl's loss to John Jones was equally, if not more, mental than it was physical.
Mostly.
I think Ciryl Gane's a damn good fighter. And the narrative of him completely changed after the John Jones fight. And I think by many, probably myself included, I'm not going to say everybody else and not me, I think people were overlooking him going into this fight. You were somebody that was not.
No, because I fought John Jones. I know what John does to people. I know as big and bad as all of us fighters pretend to be, there is something about John that is different. And it's not just his skill set. Of course, his skill set is absolutely fucking incredible. It's like fighting an alien. Doesn't make any fucking sense. But the aura that surrounds him, like when you're in his presence, it's fucking different. It's fucking different and it's uncomfortable. And we are all a bunch of maniacs. The reason we're able to do what we do is because we don't really get uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. All of us have a couple screws loose, and maybe not even screws loose. We're just wired differently. So I never really let the John Jones performance affect how I felt about Ciryl Gane because I know what he had to go through. I know the mental stress. I've talked about it at length before about like the hardest part about fighting John Jones is making it through fight week. Mm-hmm. It's just, he fucks with you. He's got a weird presence and aura. He's got a lot of people around him and then those people are fucking with you. He's just a menace. And credit to him. I'm not even really talking shit about it, to be fair. It's it's a hard week. It's a hard week to get through. And then when you see him, like, you think it's gonna be normal once you get in the octagon, and then when he enters, it just feels different. It just feels different when he steps in, because you're standing there waiting on him, and like his walk takes forever, and he just seems to be somewhere else. Like, he's not where you are. It's different. It's different. And so I never used that against Ciryl Gane, and it never made me change how I felt about him, because I think a lot of that was mental. And I think if he was to do it twice, like if they'd have re-racked that fight 3 weeks later, I think the fight would look different. Now, I'm not going to say Ciryl would win, but I think that we see a more competitive, different fight, because now he's a little more comfortable and knows what to expect. And like, we've seen DC talk about it. We've seen Gustafsson talk about it. It's just fucking different. So I try my damnedest to like educate people on like what you're looking at. Like, we can't, that Ciryl Gane isn't a real person. The one that you watched fight versus John Jones, that's not a real person. That person only exists in that very specific moment with John Jones. And I absolutely love Tom Aspinall. And I hope he actually really paid attention and doesn't read the headlines and like actually went back and watched the post show and seen what I said. I don't think he would be that upset about it.
Yeah.
And like, if he actually seen it come out of my mouth, I don't think he would be that upset about it. And probably he would be more upset about the analysis of how the actual fight went. I think that part would probably piss him off.
Well, I think most fighters get I don't know if mad's the right word, but
defensive.
It's not defensive when they hear analysis or critique of their performance.
If he would, and you know what, I'll accept that. Like, if he's,
you were in that boat,
right? If he's upset about the criticism in the actual performance itself, listen, bro, I'll accept that. I'll eat that. Like, if you're upset about it, like, I understand why you would be. I truly do. The rest of it, there's no way he could be upset about that. And that's fine. And if I was really too worried about it, I have his number. I could reach out to him, and he has mine. So, and he hasn't said anything. So, yeah, that's just kind of my take on it. Like, it was a shitty situation. I feel for Tom, but I'm allowed to feel for Ciryl Gane too. I thought he looked great. He was very, very prepared. Like, you could tell he was super focused and dialed in and knew exactly what he was going to do. You could tell right away what his game plan was. That's a lot of work for both of them that went for nothing. And that, so I feel for them both. And I'm allowed to feel for Ciryl Gane because it wasn't intentional. I don't think anybody in the world is saying that was on purpose.
For Tom, he unfortunately finds himself in a lose-lose situation because he either does what he does and you get a multitude of fighters saying, I've been poked in the eye before and I've continued to fight, or I would have fought, or you get the fans that are disappointed. And I get it. I paid $80 for that pay-per-view. That sucks to see the main event end that way. Or Tom Aspinall continues to fight. Let's say he really can't see out of one eye. And now you're trying to dodge shots from Ciryl Gane. Like any other fighter at heavyweight can take you out with one punch. It's not a good situation either way. And only Tom will ever know how hurt he actually was. And if he says
that's why I've never spoken on
eye, then we've got to go with it.
Right. That's why I would never speak on that. Like,
absolutely.
I would never say yes, he was hurt, or no, he wasn't. I think of the Aljo thing. How many times have people come at me about the Aljo thing? What do you think? What do you think? I don't know. Only he knows. Is that the decision I would have made? Clearly fucking not, because I didn't. But that doesn't mean that I'm not saying my decision is right. If I was Tom Aspinall, would I have kept fighting? Yeah, probably. Well, I'm not saying that's correct.
It doesn't matter. Right. It's completely different.
I'm not saying that that's the correct decision to make. I'm just that people ask, would you have kept fighting? Probably. Like, even my own peers, like Matt Brown, love Matt Brown. Can't say enough great things about Matt Brown. I can't think of, even if I had something negative to say, I wouldn't say it out loud. I love that guy. But even he was like, I don't know what Anthony and Ciryl are talking about, blah, 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 blah. And then I text him myself and go, wait a second, bro. Are you telling me you wouldn't have kept going? Is that what you're trying to say? Is that what you're hinting? He was, well, yeah, I would have. Okay, what are we doing here? And I'm not even saying Tom should have. Don't crucify me for something that I didn't say that you would do.
Yes.
That's crazy to me. Like, that's insane to me because I didn't say that, but you would. That's nuts.
Yeah,
Shout out Matt Brown, by the way.
yeah, he's awesome. Should get him on here at some point.
We should.
You clearly speak from the point of view of the fighter. I speak from the point of view of the fan who never once has stepped foot in that cage, never would. Was I disappointed? Absolutely. Do I think Tom Aspinall owes even 1% of himself to cure my disappointment? Absolutely not.
No.
I'm very much at peace with the way Saturday went. Feel for both guys. Wish there was a clean finish. Ultimately, there wasn't. They'll run it back at some point, hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon. Yeah. Lastly, I think people got mad about that too when I said I hope it's fast because I want them as close to the version that they were on Saturday. Because we wait 4 or 5 months. It's, in my opinion, the person that has more to gain from however many minutes they were in there from getting that data is Aspinall.
I agree. DC said something along the same lines.
I think he's going to be the one that's going to learn more from that because he's the one, in my opinion, he's the one that has to make the bigger adjustments. So if we kick this down the road 4 or 5 months, he's got and it's the same data that Ciryl Gane's going to get. But as athletes, I know sitting at your couch at home, you wouldn't understand this, but as fighters, it is much easier to make adjustments and fix things when things weren't going the way that you thought they were going to go. In my opinion, that fight was going exactly how Ciryl Gane wanted it to go. Stay just ahead, land just a little more, avoid the takedown, be mobile, stay off the fence, keep popping the jab, land some long twos, probably attack the legs as long as it's safe and go high every once in a while. Generally, he was pretty successful at that. So he doesn't, in his mind, as an athlete, professional athlete's mind, as a professional fighter's mind, there's not a whole lot of change because what your game plan was and what your goal was, we're all working. It was going the way that you again, I'm speculating, but I would imagine that fight was going pretty close the way that he wanted it to go. If you are a Tom Aspinall fan, there is no way you can tell me that fight was going exactly the way that Tom Aspinall wanted it to go. There's no way. You can fucking like me or not. You can attack my fucking career and my accolades and my character, but you could not look me straight in my face and tell me that you think that's how Tom wanted it to go. That everything was going his way, that he was walking it down exactly the path that they had projected. So who has a better advantage going into the second one? The guy that now knows what didn't work and that can change it, or the guy that had everything work and now doesn't know what's going to be different? I think it benefits Tom Aspinall. So to keep it all fair, I hope it's quick so we can get the same version of them.
I think the second Tom is back to 2020, we get them boys on the mat. I wish they'd run it back at the end of the year pay-per-view. I'd love to see them open the year with it. But
who knows?
Only time will tell. As of
and again, I don't make
2 days ago, he still couldn't see apparently.
And again, I don't want to. I would never want to rush him back in a situation where he's not 100% healed. So as soon as
we don't want to find ourselves in the same situation.
We don't.
We want them both back in there healthy.
For sure. I want them both healthy, and I want to see who the better fighter is because I still don't know. And it bothers me. I want to know.
Real quick, we're going to have an interview with Quillin Salkilld here in just a couple of minutes. Scary knockout over the weekend, but fantastic. I'm excited to hear what he has to say, but do you want to get your thoughts on the co-main, Mackenzie Dern, your new strawweight champion? What did you see from her in that fight with Virna Jandiroba?
Yeah, in terms of the technical aspect of the fight, I don't have a lot. Like it kind of just was what it was. Like I think
they were beating the shit out of each other.
They're beating the shit out of each other, and kind of the person who was like Virna was a little more tactical and trying to really attack the takedown. I think that probably surprised Mackenzie a little bit. Not too many people's game plan is going to be to take down Mackenzie Dern. That's probably, I mean, that's pretty gangster actually. That's a thug ass game plan. And she didn't do a lot with it. I thought that the judges really sent a message that wrestlers are going to have to start doing something on top. Grapplers are going to have to start attacking, punching, passing, whatever they need to do and being effective in the top position. And which I don't mind. I think that that's how it should be. So, but I thought the person really trying to start a fight the whole time was Mackenzie Dern. I thought her hands looked really good. You can tell she's been back with Perillo. I really want to speak about kind of the progression of Mackenzie Dern. Since their last fight, Virna looked absolutely fantastic. Mackenzie Dern was like 5-4 since their last fight. So she's barely above 500. And if we really want to take a snapshot back to when Mackenzie Dern fought Jessica Andrade, she looked like maybe this isn't something she's going to be doing for work for very, very much longer. And then she talked a lot about her personal life and her struggles. And she's been very open about, when she had her daughter and then she got, and then they got divorced. And I've said it time and time and time again. And there's one anomaly, there's one exception to the rule, but the rule generally is if your personal life isn't in order, it will always show its face in your fighting career. A lot of other sports and professions, it's easier to hide, but it will always show its ugly face in fights. And I think that's what was happening to her. She has to keep fighting because she has to provide. She's done interviews talking about her, her ex-husband taking a shit ton of money from her and sitting in court and talking about how much money she's going to make so that he can get more money. And it's just a terrible, terrible situation to be in for her. And again, I don't know the details of their divorce. I'm just talking about like the mental spot that she had to have been in dealing with all of that. And then to see like if you take a snapshot of the Jessica Andrade fight and then her on Saturday, it was just a bit inspiring. It's like a tale of two different people. Physically, I thought she looked incredible and in the least creepiest way possible. She looked really lean. She looked really strong. She's had conditioning issues and weight cut issues in the past. There was none of that. She looked great on the scale. She had a smile on her face, looked healthy and fairly full still on the scale. And then she pushed for 25 minutes. So I just honestly, I couldn't be happier for her. Just like she worked really hard to change a lot of things and to get herself into a mental spot that is going to bear some success, and very clearly worked physically very, very hard. And when people work that hard in that many different areas, it's never, again, sucks for Virna, but I don't know. I found myself really happy for Mackenzie Dern.
I thought no scene better than her daughter coming into the octagon and touching the belt. And
as a parent, like, fuck, that's cool.
As not a parent, I was like, this little girl must think her mom is the coolest person in the world. And she's probably right.
Yeah. Pretty dope. And marketing wise, I wouldn't be surprised to see her on a kind of a celebration tour. She's crazy marketable. She's beautiful. She speaks well in interviews. She's got a great personality. She's got an infectious
She's everything
smile.
You want in a champion, really.
She's a marketing department's dream for sure. And when you see her fight, like, you can say what you want about some of her, maybe her takedown defense or, maybe some of her technical, I don't know, defensive stuff, boxing, but like that chick will fucking throw down. Like if she just bites on her mouthpiece and throws bombs, like, and then you can take that image of that person, that monster, that savage, that just purebred, and then also flip it to like her in a skirt sitting in a nice interview being very personable and answering questions and with the infectious smile and laughing, and it like that. It's a marketing department's dream.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see what she can do with that division, if she can really take a hold of it, because nobody really stands out to me. No one is jumping off the page in terms of next contender, at least. So I'm excited to see if she can kind of keep a stranglehold on that division.
I think a lot of it has to do with the Weili Shevchenko fight, because I think if Zhang Weili loses, I think she comes back down.
And obviously she jumps off the page.
She jumps off the page for sure.
Absolutely.
But that'd be my guess, is they probably wait to book her. Definitely. Good. And she's a bit banged up too. And it just happened.
Yeah. Do you see her face?
Yeah. So I would imagine that they don't even have any conversations at all about another opponent until the Zhang Weili Shevchenko fight happens.
And there's no need to, because again, it's not like anybody's waiting in the wings needs to get in there right away.
Exactly.
So they shouldn't.
Exactly. Warning: this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Black Buffalo products are intended for adults aged 21 and older who are consumers of nicotine or tobacco. If you're 21 or older and use nicotine or tobacco, it's time you charge ahead and join the herd with America's only credible smokeless tobacco alternative, Black Buffalo. Now available at thousands of best in-class retailers like Wawa, Circle K, Sheetz, Love's, Pilot, Racetrack, and more. Black Buffalo was established in America in 2015 to honor the ritual and tradition of dip without the tobacco leaf or stem. Black Buffalo's long cut and pouches are made of barn-cured leafy greens that dip and feel like traditional products, all with food-grade ingredients and USP-grade nicotine. You're in good company with the Black Buffalo herd. Brand ambassadors like MMA Hall of Famer Cowboy Cerrone, professional race car driver Ryan Blaney, and country music star Larry Fleet all proudly dip Black Buffalo tobacco alternative, an American brand built on authenticity and respect. If you're looking for a real dip experience, long cut or pouches, go to blackbuffalo.com to join the herd. Use their store locator to find a retailer near you or ship products directly to you in most states. Black Buffalo Tobacco Alternative, the future of dip, honoring the past. And we have a special guest today. We're here with Quillin Salkilld, and he's coming off a fresh, nasty head kick KO in Abu Dhabi, man. How was the travel back?
Your travel back was, it was good. It's always, the travel back's always good coming off a big win like that. So
Yeah.
good to be back home, and finally things are settling down, and yeah, just on top of the world right now.
What's the celebration look like since you've been back?
Oh, just eating heaps of food, man. You know how it is. Cutting weight, and now I'm just eating pizza and all the things I couldn't have eaten for those 10 days when I was really had to restrict myself. So I'm just indulging now for the time I can.
Incredible, man. Well, you deserve it. As I was, I've obviously watched you fight and broken down your tape, and then as I was doing that, and then I watch you get this just absolutely fucking highlight reel knockout. I realized I don't know that much about you, like just about like you personally, and it's kind of been a pretty quick whirlwind for you since coming into the UFC. What did life look like before you found your way into MMA? Because you initially moved, if I'm right, you moved to pursue like a soccer career, correct?
Now, Aussie rules football.
Oh,
So we
okay,
call it
okay.
AFL. So that's our footy. Is like, yeah. So yeah, before I got into MMA, I was big on football. So I've always wanted to pursue like an athletic career. Before that, I wanted to be a professional skateboarder, and I've always kind of played footy, and then I got into footy and wanted to pursue that. And I'm from a country town in the northern part of Western Australia, and I ended up moving to the main city, Perth, to pursue that football career. And during the off season, that's when I started training MMA. After the first event, the first UFC event that come to Perth, Rockhold versus Romero. A week after that, I attended as a fan, and a week later I started training. And then within like 3 months, I lost total interest in footy and just wanted to do MMA full time.
What was it about MMA that kind of drew you away from your previous pursuit?
I think it was just like the one-on-one contest. Like I've always done like team sports growing up, so this is like the first time I've done like a one-on-one, sport where it's just like yourself when you're competing. And it's all on you. Like that's probably the part I like the most. So you don't have to rely on teammates, and you don't have to like let teammates down, I guess, in that point. So yeah, I'm not sure. I've always had a bit of a fascination with it ever since getting into it. So once I just started, it was like a total obsession just to take over.
When did you realize you were good? I feel like everyone has that moment where they're like, "Damn, I might be kind of good at this." Like, what was that moment?
Probably wasn't until I reached pro ranks, to be honest. Like, I was always, especially early on in my career, I was trash. Like my first amateur fight, I lost, and then my second amateur fight, I won by the skin of my teeth. Like I got bashed for like 2 rounds, and the last round, I don't know how I did it. I a miracle rear naked choke win. And at that point, that's when I thought that I'm going to do this full time, because that rush and that feeling of winning, especially in that way, there was nothing like it. And that's when I decided I'm going to do this full time now.
And if I'm correct, you lost your first pro fight too, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I'm cursed to never be undefeated. Yeah, every single one, all my amateur fights and professional fights, I've started off with a loss. I've started off on 1, even in Muay Thai as well, and then I've done really well afterwards.
Were you like once you turned pro? Were you like you lose the first one and you just let it go really quick, or were you kind of unsure? Like, oh shit, that's a
You
bad
know,
start.
I went down the route of just forgetting about it. I haven't even watched the fight back. Still to this day, I haven't. I know where I went wrong. I don't even want to see it. So I've just forgot about it and just moved on, and then ever since then I've been on a tear.
Hell yeah! All right, so then you find yourself on the Contender Series,
Yeah,
which seems to really fit your style. Like you seem to just have that finishing mindset in big moments, which really fits right in with the Contender Series. And I actually know Gage Young. He's a Midwest guy. He was kind of the young guy that was around. He would bounce around the gym. He kind of always followed James Krause around. So
Mm.
I've known that kid. I've known of him. I don't know him that well, but I've known of him for a really long time. He's a super tough kid, and
Yeah.
so you beat him on the Contender Series, get your contract, and then rattle off 3 in a row. Correct?
Yeah, it's been a
And
good year.
you haven't spent too much time in there.
Yeah, it was. The first one quick. The second one it was good. It was a tough fought decision, and then the last
Mhm.
one was pretty quick too. So I know that this time spent in this game is very finite. So I'm looking to make the most of it while I can. I've only got say an average of 10 years, I guess, in the sport at this level. Um, if that. So I'm looking to make the most of it while I can, while I'm in my youth.
So Nasrat, I thought it was an interesting matchup, not just because of the style part of it, but I don't know if you watched it back and listened to the commentary, but they made a really cool kind of note, I believe, while you were walking, that Nasrat was already in the UFC before you even started training,
Yeah.
which I
A
thought
fun
was
fact, I was still a virgin as well. I was still a virgin when he was in the UFC. 100%. I looked at that. It was a month before. I remember. Um,
oh, that's
I went
fascinating.
through on Topology and seen when his first UFC fight was, and I was like, damn. Not only haven't started training yet, I was still a fucking virgin. So that's crazy. But
Well, so
yeah,
that's a
yeah.
pretty big jump in experience.
Mm.
I don't feel like you're the type of person that gets too, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, that gets too intimidated by accolades or certain things like that. I feel like you just look at the tape and figure it out. But there's got to be some thought to like, wow, this guy's really been doing this a long time, and I'm, comparably to him, I'm pretty brand new.
Yeah, of course. I definitely get nervous, but also excited about these big challenges, and I back myself against anyone. So in these moments where I get big opportunities like this, and I'm all for it. It makes me, it makes it makes me so excited. Like I do this for the thrill. This is the best part about this sport is the thrill and the excitement of like facing these big challenges and these big moments.
I feel like that's like a very Australian mindset.
Mm.
Like I trained for a while with Rob Wilkinson, and I feel like even his friends, when he would bring them around, like that Australian mindset is just so different, where it almost seems like you guys are just in it just for the good fucking time of it. And it's
Yeah,
like
pretty much. Yeah,
it's not like you guys don't work hard or it's
yeah,
not
for it.
super
Yeah,
skilled. It's almost like you guys turned it into a party. It's very
yeah.
fascinating to me.
That's exactly like it. Yeah, like yeah. Obviously, we all train and work hard, but at the end of the day, it's all about having fun. So that's I think that's what makes us good fighters in that sense is that it's all we love to do it. It's all fun at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's definitely a different. I always joked with Rob, like, I feel like the only thing that's missing here for you is just the beer, because it does seem like like if you just added beer to it, this is exactly what these people want to do for the rest of their life.
100%. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so going into the Nasrat fight, what was the game plan, or was it just react?
A lot of it was react. Like I just like to know I just want to know what my opponent has to offer. So we watch tape, and we know southpaw. He's he's going to spam that left hand, and he's quite he's fast on the feet. Like his hands, he has good hand speed. So the plan was to pretty much how it went was to utilize kicks a lot. And I was looking for the takedown like early on, or shooting, just to obviously keep that in mind. And yeah, we start off the fight just spamming some kicks up the middle to the body, down to the leg, and obviously he dropped his guard thinking that, and then the one that went high was the one that caught him.
Do you think it was beneficial at all to maybe have the 10-day notice and not have a whole shit ton of time to think about it, worry about it, and I don't know, get in your own head and stress about it? Or would you? I mean, obviously, I think we all would rather have more time, but there got to be some. At least in my experience, if I did take a short notice fight, there is some benefits there.
Yeah, like it felt more badass taking it on 10 days notice. So that every
It
time
does feel like a freebie.
I was like, hell, that's sick. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
sick.
it does.
10
Yeah,
days
it feels
notice.
like a freebie.
Like, yeah. So yeah,
So
100%, yeah.
that's probably. I mean, recency bias is a thing, but I don't think that this is going to be one of those situations. That's probably contender for knockout of the year. I thought it was cool seeing, like, obviously you had a bunch of excitement and you're celebrating, but there was a lot of care there too. Like, there for a second, I seen you. I don't know what you were mouthing. Like you were kind of like, just get the fuck up. Like, all right,
Yeah,
enough is enough.
yeah, like after a minute, and once things settled, and you obviously look over and you see he's still out, and you see like his corner team there, and they look concerned, and then obviously you get concerned as well. So yeah, obviously you don't want to see a guy like that for an extended period of time like that. I didn't expect it. Like usually, like because I've knocked a guy out before, and afterwards he's up after like 20 seconds or so, and I kind of expected that same thing to happen after this one. After I'd done celebrating, I see him still out. So it was a scary thing for a minute there, and yeah, thankfully got up, and then later on we heard that he was all good. So yeah, it's thankful that it turned out that way.
Yeah, I thought it was a really cool human moment though.
Mm.
Like that a lot of times doesn't get captured, because guys are talking to their coaches, and um, that's typically how fighters react though. It's
Mm.
like, all right, this is fucking cool. And like, all right, enough, this has been long enough. You got to get up, bro.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cool. It showed the human aspect of you where
Mm.
you can be the monster and the savage, but also like there's a real person in there. So I thought that was cool. So you're in one of the most competitive and deepest divisions historically in the UFC. Where
Mm.
do you see the kind of state of the division, especially with Topuria being the champion, and some of the guys at the top are starting to age out a little bit. You see guys starting to retire, and the new wave of guys like yourself coming in. Just generally, I guess, from like a 30,000-foot view, how do you see the division right now?
Yeah, I see a lot of guys, a lot of the legends on their way out. And I see, yeah, like us, the newer guys, starting to move up the ranks, and become the new generation, the new era of lightweights. And there's still those few top guys at the very top that probably got one or two more fights left before uh, they move on. But yeah, 100%. There's definitely a new surge of us younger lightweights, coming through.
What do you I guess, what do you think of Ilia Topuria? Like I'm always really curious to see how guys like yourself, the up and comers that are kind of they're doing damage and making big waves and names. As analysts, we're always, especially as a guy that's retired a few months ago, I look at Ilya and you're like, wow, this guy's the future of the division. But I know that's not how you guys think about it. Like, of course, he's going to be there for a minute, and you guys got to work your way up. But what do you see when you see Ilya?
I see a tough challenge to face at some point in the road. Obviously what he's done, he's a bad man, and one day I hope to face him in there when I'm at the peak of my prime, and say like another 2 years time when I've reached the top of the division. I reckon that's going to be a wicked exciting challenge to face.
Hell yeah. What a fun thing to think about though, right?
know.
Like as you find yourself in this division, you got this nice win streak, some dope knockouts.
Fuck
Uh
yeah.
yeah, it's fucking cool, right?
It's cool, yeah.
And it happens so quickly, like
Yeah.
realistically, you know what I mean? Which is awesome. Who do you want to fight? I don't again, I'm making a bunch of assumptions here. You just don't strike me as a dude that's just out here talking shit, calling people out, but you gotta have like a dream matchup or someone that you just look at and say, that'd be fun.
Yeah, for now, like I got some like big names I'd love to fight, but I know I've only had 3 fights, and this was a step up. I don't know if they're going to continue to like push me as fast. Like guys along the lines of
Would you
like
rather be pushed fast or would you rather slow
yeah,
down?
hell yeah.
Yeah,
um,
there we go.
I'm just thinking like as like a non-biased, like yeah, I hope they push me and give me a ranked fighter next. But realistically, I'm not too sure if that's going to be the case, considering I've only had 3 fights in the promotion. But guys along the lines of like Moicano and like Benoit Saint Denis and like Dariush, obviously fighting in a few weeks' time. Like someone along the lines of that. That's like a good name, and someone that's like ranked guys. I just want someone with a big name in the division. I want a big cool fight.
Do you want to take some time or you want to try to get one pretty quick?
Yeah, well, there's rumors of a show coming to Sydney early next year, so I'm looking to be getting on that. So I hope they do end up coming through.
That'd be perfect. All right, man. Well, I appreciate your time. It is very, very late for you, so I appreciate you hanging out and giving me a little bit of your time. I'm gonna let you get out of here, man. It's been fun just kind of following your career as it's starting to take real shape. And I thought your performance and knockout were just fucking awesome. So keep doing what you're doing, man. Whatever it is, it's working, and people are watching. So I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate it.
It's always funny to see the contrast of the guy in the cage who just had that vicious, scary, horrific knockout of Nasrat Haqparast compared to this guy who's just chilling at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Needed his manager to set up the StreamYard link for him, just like having a time.
Right. Like off air, it was funny. Like he was like struggling with like the technology part of it. And it's just really, I don't know, like you said, the contrast is funny. Epic mustache though.
I saw a picture. Somebody posted a screen grab of him on with Helwani and said, I just know this guy is Australian without even listening to his accent.
For sure. He looks like every Australian that you could ever just like. He looked like kind of like the dad off the Wild Thornberries.
Yeah. Wasn't it Nigel?
Yeah, Nigel.
Yeah.
That's kind of what he reminded me of when I was talking to him. I was like, I probably shouldn't say that. Super cool kid though. So I appreciate Quillin for coming on. Hopefully gets another fight book soon. We can get him back on and talk about that. Again, big shout out to Big John McCarthy. I owe him big time for that. Big John's been a pillar kind of in my career. He's been around for most of it. I was sad to see him not repping anymore, so I'm happy to see him back. So I appreciate you, John. Look forward to having you on again in the future. And yeah, that's it for us. There's 2 episodes this week. I hope you guys enjoyed them. Make sure you like, subscribe, go ahead and comment. I know you're gonna. Yeah, share it with your friends. And we will see you guys next week. We partner with HomaFight Picks to get you the most accurate and well-researched fight predictions. They do all the legwork so you can focus on winning. Picks will be sent directly to your phone via text or email. It's totally up to you. The second we upload them. Use code Lionheart to get 7 free days at winnable.com/HOF picks. That's WINIBLE.com/HOF picks.